Hey beloveds, hope you are doing very well today. I've got to say, in our Facebook group, uh, we have under 60 people, and it's so surreal to me. I'm just like, wow, all these folks in our group, they trust me to share with them value, not to waste their time. And they want to be in community, and they want to achieve their goals and explore with each other. And it's just so surreal, and I'm so excited and, and just really hyped up. And this video is inspired by one of the posts that one of the members made. They said that they do a lot of art and a lot of volunteer work. And then they talked a little more about that and just having some struggles with, finding good paying work. I want to say that I've worked with a lot of creatives. Okay, I'm a creative myself. I've worked with a lot of creatives. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I don't know, at least 5 years ago, maybe a little more, I did a career management for artists workshop at a local art event called Art-O-Matic. I even displayed some of my own art at Art-O-Matic. Now for me, art is more of a hobby. It's not like a career that I'm trying to earn my livelihood from, but I love art. Artists are my people. I'm a creative person myself, and so I love artists, and I work with a lot of artists. I understand the struggles, the obstacles, and the heartache, and the success. So I know a little something when it comes to career management for artists. Again, I've taught, that wasn't the only workshop I taught for artists, all right? So I've also worked with writers and independent film directors. So a lot of artistic people who are trying to get their stuff out there. So that said, let me tell you a little something about artists. I see some of the same mistakes and same obstacles that a lot of artists and creative people face. But I'm going to just share one. Okay, I'm going to share one with you today. Usually when I work with artists, they come to me unemployed and they're looking for help. And so, they're the stereotypical starving artists. And I'll say, okay, let's just kind of role play here. Let's say we're out and about, hanging out with friends or at an event or whatever. And someone says, oh, what do you do? And then they say, well, I'm unemployed and I'm not really working right now, but I like to do a lot of art, or I used to have an art job. So that's what they may say, right? When we're role playing. And I say, no, that's not what I advise you to say. If someone asks you, what do you do? You don't start, or you don't stop being an artist just because you stop being paid for it. Okay, let me say that again. You do not stop being an artist just because you stop being paid for it. Okay, if being an artist is your career, that is your serious career path. You are an artist, it is your livelihood, or what you want to be your livelihood, then you are always an artist, whether you are being paid for it or not. Okay, don't say, oh, I'm unemployed, or I like to do a lot of art. And when you say that, let's say if you say that, it comes off as more of a hobby than a bona fide career. And that's not what you want. You want people to hear what you say and go, oh, that person's an artist. And you know what? If they know of any artist opportunities, they may pass your name along. But if you come off as more of a hobby kind of thing, then they may not pass your name along. So it's important on how you identify yourself. Okay. Another thing, well, maybe I'll say that for another video. I said I'd just give one tip about artists today. So let's just take that one for now, okay? So again, try not to come off as a hobby if indeed it is your bona fide career. The other thing, while we're talking about hobbies, is I mentioned to you that my own art kind of stuff that I do is a hobby. I like to draw with oil pastels. I like to do creative writing. It's a serious hobby for me, particularly the creative writing part. It's a serious hobby. But you know what? I don't identify as a writer in terms of my bona fide, career path to fulfill my livelihood. Okay, it's a serious career for me. I mean, it's a serious hobby for me. It's not my serious career. And I'll tell you what, there are some artists, and again, I've worked with a lot of artists, a lot of creative people. There are some artists who, they need to keep it a hobby. Okay, they need to keep it a serious hobby that they love, and whenever they have free time to do that, to do their artistic stuff, they do it, and they enjoy it. And then there's other people who are doing their artistic stuff as a hobby, and they totally should have it as their bona fide career. They can totally make it. It should be their career path that they, pursue, for the 8+ hours a day. But there's people who don't do that. People who have it as a hobby, who should have it as their career, and other people who have it as a career, but you know what? It should actually be a hobby for them. How do I help them determine the difference? How do I work with them to determine, should you keep this as a career or a hobby? I have a very clear system that I use to do that. And so once I help them with that, then they have this peace of mind of, I'm really glad that I know that now, and I can focus on that and adjust my energies accordingly. And that's not to say that it can't change, that, how the decision comes out now has to be forever. It doesn't. And sometimes it can be good to change, and sometimes it doesn't change. But just knowing that information is really important, okay? And when it comes to what you keep as a hobby, that can really go for anything. I work with people who are really into anime, really into video games, geeks and nerds and whatever. And sometimes things are better, to stay as a hobby, serious hobby, and sometimes things are better to stay as a career. So just because you're really passionate about something and like it, it doesn't necessarily mean that that should be what you pursue for your career, okay? Some people may feel differently. I do think it's important to enjoy your career and be passionate about it, and that you follow your calling. But there are many things in this world that you may enjoy and like, but it may not necessarily be your career calling. And so distinguishing those differences are very important. So again, in the group, our Facebook group, this kind of comment came up. They said, I do a lot of art, and I also do a lot of volunteer work. So I just touched on the art piece, okay? And now I'm gonna touch on the volunteer piece, all right? I work with a lot of people who do a lot of volunteer work, okay? And I was talking about anime and video games, so let me just kind of stick with that theme. I had a client who anime was like huge for them. That was their serious hobby. They loved it, but that was not what they did for their career. For their career, they worked, it was like retail or something like that, but their goal was to be a manager. But they could never qualify for management positions. So after working with this person, diving deep and better understanding them, I was able to pull out that this person, all the volunteer work they did, they actually helped to manage a whole anime convention in the DMV area. So they were doing strategic planning, they were doing operations, they were supervising the gophers who did like grunt work. They were coordinating the Japanese musicians from Japan to fly down to the United States for this anime convention. And so they were doing a lot of really amazing work, okay? Volunteer work for free. The volunteer work they were doing was at a higher level than what they had on their resume for their paid retail job. By pulling that volunteer work onto their resume, tweaking it, making it look nice, and really quantifying all the awesome stuff they were doing, their resume just went, it was just amazing. And they were able to get a management position in like this, it was like a anime comic book gaming store kind of thing. So it was like their dream management job for that time in their life, okay? They loved it. And it paid more. It was in an environment they wanted. They didn't want just a boring management job. They wanted a management job that connected with things that they enjoyed, which was the anime and kind of video game stuff and all of that. And so I helped them get that. And so that's just one success story that I remember in terms of thinking about anime and creatives and all that kind of stuff. But again, they never would have had that dream management job if we didn't leverage their volunteer experience. So to my friends in our group who are thinking about these kind of things, I hope this helped you. And I'm so excited to have the participation in the group. It helps me to get content to share with you guys. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what you're going through so we can address it here. And it's fun to do videos about it. So in terms of doing a lot of art and doing a lot of volunteer work, when it comes to art, think about, is this a serious hobby or is this a serious career? And then be sure to identify appropriately. And then when it comes to volunteering, all that awesome volunteer work that, let's say, you're doing, make sure that's translating well to your resume, that you're giving yourself credit for it, so that that can help you to move forward. And I'm sure there's so many details, and everybody is different. But if we begin to take some of these tips and then add on to them, tweak them for your situation, even though there may be other factors going on, at least we can address some of these factors together. All right, everyone, hope this was helpful. If it was, say so in the comment. If you have any questions about things, put it in the comments. I really enjoy hearing from you. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.